Get back to the fun. Yeah, so Hawkins, your fixer, was just appraising his current situation and realizing he's kind of screwed. His daughter is being threatened right now. Uh, it's a common threat that he gets. Usually it's a little more veiled, though, like not so much like we have your daughter right now. And usually it's like, just make sure the payment's on time, that sort of thing. I think he's covering up a drug deal that he helped arrange to disrupt because it was spirit drugs. And these are the kinds that would open up the minds of a bunch of teenagers to weird experiences. And he was trying to do something good. He thought he was. And it ended up crossing one of the Manning's new dealers or whatever. And so the Mannings were, well, it wasn't a new dealer. It was like their new deal that they decided to make with them that was big money. So, yeah, they came down on Hawkins and they've been bugging him ever since. Kind of making sure he takes runs from them occasions, that things that he normally wouldn't. And so
How does he how does he frame it to us? Does he just spill all the beans, or
I think you've gathered this through. First of all, you knew the Mannings had something on him because one of you is a techno. And you could have just kind of like heard a signal if you wanted to, right? Like open your mind, and if a signal comes in and you see him get bugged by something, you probably picked up on that he's been getting noteworthy texts during things, and then he would respond and it would quickly go away. But the mood seemed to change between you, and like maybe they might have been like, oh, you know what, not that run, let's do this other run, you know. It's probably piqued your interest. So it's up to you whether you would have gathered any actual information of more value, but you would probably have kept up enough of a knowledge to know that he's been getting texts from someone who's been threatening him, and it's put the pieces together that it might be one of the Manning's enforcers. It
how
says
long
V
has
in
he
the
been
text, which the enforcer for the Mannings is named Vigo. So that's how you might have put
how
that
long
together.
has how long has he been getting these texts?
Throughout your interaction, before you ever met them, they probably might have been getting those texts. Seemed like it might have got a start through the Mannings as a fixer.
So like a year plus?
How long have you been working with him? I guess that matters. Is this
Yeah.
like a new relationship, or is this the fixer you've been using for a while and it's just things just started to crank up and they made you like stabled?
I think we're a relatively new group, but we probably knew him before that from the Astral Preservation Society.
Oh yeah, we said that they were a prior business associate of some kind, meaning like a former criminal associate too. They might have like provided information or even helped you out in a bad situation, or arranged a run for you in the past.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
context does matter. So you've known him for a while. You had some background on them, as like you knew that they were well versed in historical things, but they also managed to get work that runners could use to keep a living going, keep their heads above water, pay for their many vices, upkeep of being a citizen, or not, or a non-citizen. One of you is tagged, aren't you? Curious about that. I wanted to say that I saw somebody was, yeah, our corporate background character might be, yeah, that would be your character, Zal. Your Emerald might be tagged. This is just an interesting thought in my head.
mean,
Yeah,
with
if you're tagged when you go online, that could be a little less helpful. Or it could be great when you have money.
It seemed like it made sense, so I had to take the consequence. But yeah,
Oh, wait, you don't even use comms, right? Your drawback for your stuff, for your technomancy powers is uh, obsolete. So, like, your
yeah,
understanding of all that stuff, of technology in general, and using your emergent power is, like, not modern understanding.
right. Because she had the comfortable life, so she didn't need to understand any of it. And then even with all the emergent stuff happened, it was all this newfangled,
Hmm.
techno sorcery, and it still didn't really require any current knowledge of actually how stuff around you works. Like no one knows how a smartphone works, but we use them every day, right? It's just that same principle. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's in a weird kind of like living under a rock lifestyle in terms of technoprint, but she has still all these powers that are coming out from it.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but when it comes to him, I think since he's not super forthcoming right away and like saying it, he's just looking at a phone and trying to do the sale and being all concerned. I think she kind of because she was probably standing at like the side of like a table with her like hands kind of neatly folded at her like waist or whatever. I guess maybe a little lower, I guess technically. Um, but then she kind of like steps over and she goes, "I I think it's time you're a bit more open about what is going on here." And she gestures to his phone.
Oh. Oh, yeah. That would certainly do something here. I think he like looks up from his device like this, like he's got it, and he's just like, right. Yes, it's a matter of complications that we should perhaps talk about. This, you look around and he kind of like gestures to the room that you're in, and this, this, and he sort of like gestures to the security that you feel right now, right? And the quietude in the room. Says, the Mannings provide this. Says, remember the. And he names a job that you obviously did. And he says, well, afterwards. He said, I found out who the client was. It was, it was a citizenry, a group of citizens that was the true beneficiaries. They intended to use the drugs recovered and give them to their children to awaken them. It's a sort of common practice among the elitist families. I do not approve. I myself was forced to see things I didn't wish to see as a child. And he sort of says, I understand their plight. Sort of switching subjects, rather quickly, as he usually seems to do when he has more important things to say. And he goes, well, you see, I've upset the Mannings by interrupting their little supply chain. Unfortunately, the liaison is no more. They ended up in the drink, so as they say, or in the salt. One joining with the port, the others in the port. He was referring to Port Royal, and there's many angry beings out there. And he says, maybe I'll just lay it out. And then I think that's when he starts to describe what I described to you as players. And he basically reveals all of that and explains that he's short, and if we don't, I think he says it this way, he says, if we don't pay the Mannings, or excuse me, he said, let me restate that. If we don't give the Mannings the item, then they won't pay you, and I can't pay them. So
That
figure
is
out
a wheel.
something way to get some money because we're a little short, or I'm gonna have problems.
Let's give it to him. And then steal it back later.
I admire your plan, Emerald. Excellent thinking.
Right, like once payment's done.
We'll go back and get it.
We'll come back for it later.
Uh-huh.
We know where it went to, and they probably have some people that they're moving it for or handling it for, and we'll find out where it goes, and then we'll go deal with them.
We might
That
even
way-
be able to cut
Manning's
them
out.
off. We might even be able to cut them off before they even get it somewhere. We turn it in and take it back on route. If we
Maybe
need to.
discover that lead.
Oh. Do we think Hawkins would have told you if he knew who it really was?
Well, I know it's Beth. I think.
No, but
if I've already seen the text.
would he tell you if he knew who the client was? I think we said last time that he kind of knew. I think
that
at
he
this point
kinda
he'd
knew
probably
who
tell
our-
you.
I would hope so.
I would say it's not the normal business, but I don't think we're dealing with the normal exchanges and transactions here. We find ourselves with a unique situation.
He says, well, good
Ish.
luck. You'll have to get it before it ends up in the hands of the Legionnaires.
Why don't we just rescue your daughter?
Because then we'll have the entire Manning family to deal with.
We already will if we keep this relic thing.
He says she's in Montego. And Montego's like over the mountains to the north and beyond the jungles of, wild creatures beyond. It's on the north side of the island. You're on the south. So
It's a good thing we have that the vehicle, the VTOL.
yeah, you have a VTOL. If you do it, I think Hawkins is like, we do have the capabilities to go to Montego now. It's unsanctioned travel. We will draw attention. Perhaps I have to pull some strings if this is what you intend to do for me.
Okay. I did not know
After we,
they had something over you, and clearly we need to make it right with them. Let's make the delivery. But let's also expect that it's going to be handed off to the Legionnaires, and hopefully we can retrieve it during that time.
Oh, that's great.
And once the Mannings are out of it, and it's with Legionnaires, then we can take it. And then we'll rescue your daughter from the Mannings.
Like I just want to see you rescue the daughter as a player. Like I want to see okay, something scuffle happens, right? You manage to outsmart the Mannings by handing over the item and then following them, right? Cool. You might have to do something to get it from the Legionnaires, right? If you allow that to happen. But actions wise, I think it's fun to say that you just do all that, and then we get to the run where you're like, you've got the item. Well, no, you gotta get the item. You gotta steal the item. It's worth 70 yen.
Well, we gotta give it. We gotta turn it in so we get paid. We gotta turn it in to get paid.
Okay, but you don't want to do that unless you can get it back. So,
right,
yeah.
And I think here's the plan. I think we need to call them and tell them that we have the item and we want to make the meat, and we actually do it. But in that time, that gives you the heads up, Emeralds, to go figure out the Legionnaires and how they're getting the handoff from the Mannings. we handle our business with the Mannings and conclude our job.
Okay,
You
so
find where the Legionnaires are making the handoff for the pickup, and that's where we have our ambush.
Yep.
Get it back
We jump them after Manning's leave.
from
yeah.
the Legionnaires.
yeah, I heard find Legionnaires pickup location. That was the first thing I heard that sounded challenging. And then then intercept. So
There's a couple ways we could do that. Is we could attach some kind of tag to the device, electronic tag that like Emerald could follow, or we could attach some kind of astral or magical tether to it that we could follow.
Right. That sounds
Well,
cool.
it kind of is its own magical thing.
Yeah, so there is the matter of the daughter, right? The Mannings want their money. They're like, the transfer's late, you know? And he says, oh, well, so they're saying they want the money now. I'll try to stall them. And that'll give us the time we need. Right, so your fixer does a little talky talk. He's probably good at this.
I would hope so.
I'm going to give him 3 dice as a criminal
Actually-
negotiator. Oh, it's a 4. It just looks. It's like he's like they don't want to let it slide. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, it's gonna be bad. And he starts getting nervous. He's like, all right, we're gonna have to mobilize and we're gonna have to move quick. We have to move quick. If they're talking trash. Oh, they're saying they're gonna cut her. They're gonna cut her up. I know what I'll say. And he says something, and it's like gang speak, right? That he remembers. He's like, it's like he like calls upon an old code of gang politics of like, you wouldn't do this to that other biker gang. You wouldn't do this to them. You wouldn't do this to any criminal faction. He starts naming off. He's like different ones that he's interacted with, and it kind of like they're like, okay, we'll give you time. You can probably make the money happen. And so they back off. But he's nervous. There's a tense moment.
Well, let's call them up and make them meet. We're gonna deliver the goods.
Okay. Yeah. So we see like a handoff of that case, probably in like a discrete location, like a shadowy. I think like a street corner where like the neon lights aren't like blaring, and there's like steam covering the whole like light pole where somebody stands there, and you can't see their face, and they have the collar pulled up really high, and there's like Manning's thugs across the street just kind of like chatting to each other and smoking e-cigarettes, and there's a handoff about to happen, right? They're not even paying attention. So when they just kind of like glance over to make sure that nothing bad happens when the two hands walk by. And your account swells with 7 yen. I believe it goes probably to the, like bing, 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 1 to each of you, and then 1 to the crew, or what? How did you want it distributed?
Two apiece and 1 to the crew, or 1 apiece and 4 to the crew? Let's do 1 apiece.
Well, I can't really do 2 if we have Eric, right?
Yeah, so we had a 4th runner last time. So 1
Let's
each,
do 1
3 to the crew.
each.
1 each, 3 for the crew.
1 each.
I'll mark 1 on Eric's sheet for him. Okay. So that's cool. So that squares that away. And then 3 on the sheet for the crew. So you received 70 yen, which was it was a sizable payment. It was negotiated by your other runner. They only wanted to give you like 5, so you managed to do all right on that deal. And yeah, I guess let's go to the part where where the Legionnaires are meeting up with the next client. or sorry, the Mannings are meeting up with the Legionnaires, right? They're like, we got it. We're ready to make a handoff. I think that's when you're gonna find the pickup location, right? Is when they describe
Yeah.
the location.
Or we follow them, somehow through the grid or through astral space or whatever.
But yeah, that's a
I
good
think
idea.
right? So we should probably have it on some long dead end. Probably like on a peninsula or something like that. You drive this road out and there's no other easy access. So there's like one way in and out.
Yeah, this is the kind of
Well-
deal that they won't do anywhere near the precinct or even, you know what I mean, in the streets or anything like that. They'll probably do it either in a closed office or somewhere like you're saying, like a discreet office that they've rented for the night, or something. Or they'll do it, like you're saying, like in a very out of the way at the end of a dead end road. That's kind of fun. It definitely limits their options, though. They probably wouldn't they'd both be sketched out by that. I'm been sketched out, and I'm not even a runner. Okay, so
But it's out of the way. It's dark. It's nobody else around for miles. So
well, so you're following when you get the geo coordinate
Mhm.
for where you're going, right?
right. Yeah.
You're in the VTOL. What do we see? What's the scene when you
that-
track the info?
Noisy.
Detail's way too noisy for that. We probably just.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter how we track them per se. We track them ultimately, and we probably. We don't really have a ground vehicle. We probably would have had to steal like a steal or borrowed a civ car or something to co-spy on.
Rent. Rent.
Yep.
Potentially,
You rent a car.
potentially.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Or
You can summon a little money to rent a car not with ease. Yeah. And since we don't care how the quality of the car is that much, let's say you just got a nice sedan, cruising behind, you look like any regular passenger traffic, and then I think that's when one of you, let me see here, your rating's 2. Yep, your rating is 2 as well.
Who had our?
Well, our best rating is going to probably be, or the best info is probably going to go to Xalkyrie. Xalkyrie hears a signal being like you can sense it that it's the signal you're seeking, that it's veiled, it's like encrypted, it's got like like this virtual like look of like a black sheath around the beam of light that would represent that email coming in, and it describes the geo coordinates within. I'm guessing used your attunement to gain the information.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
You want me to give it the actual roll?
I fortune rolled it. You crit.
Oh,
You got good info. You got the best info. I think it's not to say that our magician wasn't able to gather information. It's just that you're realizing that the moment is now, and then as the messages come through, you miss it. If you were trying to like watch what they saw in their brain or something like that, mentalism or whatever.
it was probably like a trace on like when they originally grabbed it from us. She like basically like marked one of the cybernetics on maybe one of the people that picked it up from us and made him like leave a trace behind in the like the cyberspace basically, so that like it was pretty easy to kind of just follow that path because he was just like leaking data or something like that she could just follow. And then like so we follow them to the location. Maybe we're just like a couple blocks back and we're just kind of like maybe binoculars or some other thing. We're just like waiting for the Legionnaires to grab it and like get on their tail in whatever direction they leave, and we're just gonna like hot pursuit it.
Ooh. Okay. In the car or switching vehicles? The rented car?
Probably still in the rented car.
Probably in the
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if so,
Lights off,
then now it
silent running,
becomes.
trying to. Oh, I just said it probably lights off, kind of trying to do a silent running behind them so they don't notice we're following them.
Yep. Yep.
Since
Okay.
this is an out of the way place.
So you're hoping to be
Gee, that's
sneaky and
suspicious.
surprise them.
Perhaps I could survey for an opportunity of ambush, or finesse lets me hold a position.
So your techno just got a crit on their gather info, which I fortune rolled, and so they got exceptional info of the location. So they crack open the signal. They know that it's it's gonna be. It's kind of 50-50 if it's going to be in that. Yeah, it's in the location you kind of want. It's at the end of a discrete alleyway, kind of on the way north out of town. There's like poorer neighborhoods, and then a highway that kind of snakes up towards the north out of Kingston. If you follow that highway, eventually you come out of town, and you find some country roads that kind of divert off to the left and to the right of that road before crossing over the peak of the mountain, which is kind of heading towards Montego. Be kind of far. But they just kind of put in a location that's at the edge. It's right on the outskirts of the city, just beyond the sign, but not beyond the point where you get scanned, for leaving the city and being tracked. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a vehicle and you're driving around, you're tracked anyway a little bit. In most neighborhoods, you're okay to just be silent, right? Actually, the route you're taking is probably fine, but maybe you get like a ping, like please open your comm, when you're heading through one of the rich neighborhoods like New Kingston. But yeah, you have to drive through New Kingston. That's cool. But when you get out of town, the neighborhoods are a little bit lower class, and they don't care about that. You run in silent.
I don't care who's going through them.
Yeah, just look like it's not like somebody's going to be like, "What? They're stealing our bandwidth," or "Why are they sneaking around? Are they trying to steal our money?" It's like they know we're broke. They're broke too. Yeah. So, okay, so let's go to that part where you followed behind, you're snaking around down that highway, and you see that they've pulled off down the road, the requisite road, where the one they're supposed to be headed to, and they're out a little ways in front of you so that they don't notice you following, right? Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Okay, and you've been sneaky up to this point, correct?
Yep. And we're gonna wait for the handoff to happen too, and for them to leave, because we don't want to get into anything with the Mannings.
Right.
Our whole thing is dealing with the Legionnaires.
Yeah. We just want them.
It's an unmarked car that came out here. Of course, not a Legion vehicle. I'm looking at, so I'm pulling up the run stuff. This sounds like stealth plan to me. You're going to try to access that road undetected so they don't realize that you're coming.
Right.
If they realize you're behind them, then they're going to redirect or try to, dupe you or something, We'll roll to see what happens.
I have a friend.
This first roll will tell us the risk. What's up?
I have a friend that might be able to help set up the ambush. This engagement roll, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ty, mastermind.
Okay. Maybe.
The man with a plan, which is why we remain friends.
What did Ty tell you that was helpful here?
I think Ty could give me some clues about how to get to my goal. Like, we want the Mannings to get away, but we want the Legionnaires to get away slower. And also to make it look like something that happened to the Legionnaires and not a setup.
Oh, one second. Did I misunderstand that we're following the Legionnaires? The trade's already been made, right?
Right?
Yeah. The Mannings
Yeah.
are already. We just hope okay. They're not on present. Hopefully.
Right. And so I think what I'm looking for is like a way to help the engagement. I think Ty can be a friend that I pull in to help me plan this stealth plan.
Right.
Maybe he
so they give you
can,
flyers.
yeah. Maybe we send, like, since we know where it's happening, he sends back, like, well, these are the quickest, if you block these routes, no one can get out, or it'll take them forever to get out. That kind of thing.
Yeah, Mastermind might know that kind of thing. Yeah. Given the road is kind of like one out of town and stuff like that, I probably will take a die from them, but they would get probably like 2 dice to like realize something helpful detail just based on pure chance. If you want to take an action to try to like direct him, maybe you could, do more for it. But I think otherwise, if we just want to see what happens, I'll roll a die and see.
I think trying to get engagement dice here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could set them up with some finesse.
Right. Maybe it's easy. Yeah, you might need to do that. Mastermind came up with an idea, and in the past it sounded real good. You might flash back to having a different discussion with him, but he gave you a plan. He was like, "Yeah, block this road off or whatever." But then you see that a recent renovation on the road up here by a local. It looks like they're using their own, like a drone. They're like piloting it right now. They're like blocking one path and they've opened up a new one. And they've got like a diversionary road set up. Your blockade plan won't work. He's not going to be helpful here. Unless you have another idea. You could survey or whatever, like you said.
I think that I could use finesse to try to hold a position or set up a position. Like this is where we're gonna make that position.
Okay, so part of the engagement role, what we do is we're like, all right, let's talk about what's already happened. And it sounds like what you want this to be a flashback. It's holding up the engagement. I'm going to charge you 1 stress, or 1 edge, I mean. We're trying to do actions when we just need to figure out what the established fiction is. But it's cool. Let's flash back, but it's 1 edge to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So you're back on the scene. What do you do? What does your character do to try to set this up better?
I'm gonna find the spot where we can get them hung up, and then that will allow us to get access to their vehicle while they're waiting, like a traffic light or something like that. 1 lane road. That's because there's something being done. There's a light on one side, and only 1 car can go at a time because there's just only 1 lane available instead of 2 or something. So make them do the wait somewhere. And
make that the location where you do the.
And that's the location of where we hit them while we're waiting, so we can try to get the package from them.
Sounds kind of like an off chance that there's some road work happening. Maybe you set that up so there is road work happening.
Well,
I mean, really, in the end, Scraigon's trying to help the engagement, and I offered a friend. I have some actions. I don't know. What would you suggest? What would be good here?
Convince someone to work on the road.
Got it.
Yeah, just pay someone. You could acquire asset basically with all that money you just got.
Vehicles, are all the components of vehicles like digitally operated nowadays? Like almost everything, brakes and stuff like that.
Unless you take manual control, there's no reason for you to have to hold the wheel. You could just dial in your location and sit back and chat with your friends and eat while you're driving. Or quote driving.
So we can. So Emerald can shut down the car. and make it stop roughly where we want it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Sounds good. Okay. So we'll have you do. That sounds like since you're doing. Yeah, you just need to access the vehicle icon or its virtual presence undetected. So now it's about that instead of about stopping the car with a location. You're
Well,
just gonna
we
pick.
try to
You're
set
gonna
it up.
pick it where you do
Yeah,
it.
we're basically just gonna have the vehicle just show up where we want. It conveniently shuts down or whatever where roughly we're on, and then the hammer is ready to go in the
Yeah.
spot to get access to it.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is like
kind
where
of,
everyone pulls in front, like the SUVs pull in front of the car, the unsuspecting like passenger vehicle, and they're like, "Oh crap," and they can't drive anywhere, and then people come out and rush them.
yeah.
It's a jack move. Okay. All right. So that it was still stealth because you're going to access their vehicle undetected and try to stop them without anyone knowing, or maybe engaging the supernatural power, if you want to call it that. But I think it's really not supernatural power. It's you're just accessing their icon so you can shut it down, and that's cool. So we'll have you make that roll after the engagement roll, and others can be doing things too. But so we know the detail. And now, yeah, we just need to know your load so I can set some fictional precedents here. What are you all carrying as you're riding in the vehicle that you rented?
Normal.
Not what are you carrying, but what load have you chosen for this mission? Are you light, normal, or heavy?
Grimes
Light.
will go normal for this one. He's a troll, so he can't be light anyways. So it doesn't do a lot of good.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yep. So you're normal, you said?
Yep.
Cool. I think there's a spot to mark that on your sheet.
Yep,
What about
Emerald's
you?
normal as well, but she can still move fast because she's an elf, even while in normal.
Yeah, you're like fleet of foot. You can just kind of, you're skinny, light boned or whatever, but still rather muscular. Okay, what about your character, Scraigon?
Light load.
Light, so you'll be fast and inconspicuous. Some of that's not really, yeah. So it kind of matters, right? If they looked in their rear view, they didn't see like bulky weapons poking off your back or like big heavy vests or anything like that. They wouldn't notice that. In fact, they probably were put at ease by the fact that the vehicle behind you just looked like normal, kind of like maybe you're up to no good, but probably not.
It's a cheap rental vehicle, so it doesn't look like Black Ops or anything.
Right. Okay, so if the operation starts with sheer luck, which it does, we get 1 die. All right, so I hear that. And then we got bold or daring. Yeah, I think it's bold. Any kind of technomancy stuff like this is pretty bold because you might call upon powers or reach out to powers that you don't want to when you're just doing a regular hack. So that could be complicated if this goes wrong.
And we're reaching out against the Legionnaires.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they're.
and the Legionnaire is the target. And after you just did the handoff, like it's pretty bold. All right, so is it overly complex or contingent on many factors? No, I don't see so. This is a simple stop them, get them, and get out. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them their weakest? I'm going to say no, not so far. It does expose a vulnerability. Wait a minute. They're away from the precinct or whatever, the branch office. They're out here probably with their comms running silent as well. They might have their stuff kind of like quietly, connected with a host or something, but they're probably running silently to limit, anybody doing stuff. So that's your main challenge as the Technomancer. Emerald is going to be trying to spot those signals, despite them being like barely visible. Okay, so we're gonna give you a die for that, for the vulnerability. Is the target strongest against this approach, or have particular defenses or special preparations? Well, I said yeah, so I guess that's where you lose the die. Do your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? If so, too, we're going to take a die. We said one of your friends did, right? Mastermind? No, I said Ty couldn't.
Yep.
If we have someone that could definitely have helped, you could just throw them, push them forward, and we'll give you a bonus die for that. If it's uncertain, that's when I roll dice.
I don't think I have anyone here that could help out.
We'll look at friends
tempted to
later.
say-
I've got some ideas since we have problems with the Mannings. There's a couple friends. So like maybe we could swap out a friend. I don't know. There's like a guy Livewire who's a ganger. Maybe they're a ganger for the Mannings. You could just have that be one of your close friends if you haven't already chosen one. And they would definitely have helped you here to give you some insight. Or the Legionnaire, knowing LaRose, the beat cop or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, if you don't know them, that's cool. Let's see. Enemies or rivals interfering. Ooh, do you have any Legionnaire rivals? I don't think this might apply here. I'm looking through. Rival Technocultist. Well, maybe if the Technocultist caught wind of that thing you were doing earlier, but no. Freedom the Secret Agent. That's kind of fun. Freedom the Secret Agent. They're on Secret Agent right now? No, I don't know. That's kind of fun, right? What do you think about that? Is that kind of fun to say? Freedom's there?
They're trying to steal it themselves, kind of thing, or
That's your face's contact over at. Where is it?
I think we should save
okay.
the appearance of a rival for when they're here.
That makes sense. Let's go with 2 dice. Oh, wait, so their lower tier target would give you a bonus die. They're not. We're going to take one away. You get 1 die. They're well equipped against this kind of stuff, too. That's okay. It's a 5. So on a 5, your position is risky when you do your technomancy business here. I think that represents that they're sort of looking out for. They're like, just be clear that we're good. Just make sure that we're clear. And I think there's 2 people in the vehicle. One is sitting in the back and has like one of those earpieces, you know, that wrap around the ear. They have one of those on, and the other ear is exposed, and we see their like ear kind of wiggle. That's the only way we know they heard anything. They're like laid back in the seat, and they're just like limp, and scanning around. I think they're like some kind of an information hider, right? And they're like protecting the devices, making sure everything's still running silent. So there's a risk, yeah. So you're gonna attune, right?
Yeah, we're gonna noise punch them.
Oh, noise punch. You have a special, like a spell.
I'm
like
a threader.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna DDoS the car until it doesn't work. Right at the time that we want it to come down, where we would want it to be for the ambush spot.
So you want to attune to it. The silent sig, it's running silent, so it's a little tough to attune to it first. You'll need to attune to the device, and then you can noise punch it, or you could noise punch it and attune to it. But that sounds more like it's not going to do a lot of harm, but it's desperate. It's still.
Well, we can tune to it to get the target lock, basically.
Yep.
make sure that it's
Okay.
going to go through. But then once we're secure, we just
Oh. Yeah.
noise
Well,
punch
you
it.
could. You know what? I see what your noise punch does. It's specifically designed to bypass the software protection. So, in this case, you're right. You could just attune risky to bypass software protections, and that would give you. All right.
Everything shuts down. It goes completely dead as a piece of machinery because it's DDoS.
Oh,
It's
so I
it's
want to
bad.
see it happen, right? Like, so do you close your eyes? What does it look like when you attune? Do your eyes just go
Um,
blank and you're just like,
her I think her pupils um go like a light blue, like because you see like the light of like data flowing in her eyes basically.
mm,
And so she kind of has that like distant stare off mode because all of a sudden her vision goes basically in her mind. So she just has that moment where she just, has that far off gaze and you could like snap your fingers in front of her and she wouldn't really be that responsive. But she still has
right.
like sort of motor control. Maybe like you even see like her fingers just kind of like twitch, sort of.
Right. Like we see your hand on
Not a
kind
lot.
of.
She's not like spamming keys, but like there is like, these occasional subtle moments where it's like, as if she was like tapping on a keyboard or something, like a muscle memory.
Cool. And in the virtual, we see you doing like, I don't know, like some kind of assault to make a punch.
Yeah, it's
Like, I'll go, oh, wait,
I
wait,
think
so
she
wait. There's an icon, right? There's an icon. We see it spinning in virtual. We see it's kind of like translucent and sort of see-through, and the real icon is quite crisp. It's been like rendered in graphics or something. But for you, in your tuned senses, it's just like a blue wireframe of the icon, and it's black interior, and there's like the lines between all kind of like glow a little bit, and yeah, we can see the like additional little blips of signals relating to the vehicle's devices, like the radio, right? And like the windows and like the speed controller,
Aereo, yeah, all that type of stuff, yeah. And then
turn off the AC. Sure.
on her side, it's basically like it shows like the wireframe perspective of our nondescript sedan. And in here, Emerald like basically like stands up, and she's like just a completely gem like appearance of her normal form for her like icon. And you just basically see like her do like the wind up and then just throws her fist forward and just sees like this massive like comet of data that just streaks forward towards the van or whatnot and consumes it in overload.
We hope it consumes it completely, right? And then just shuts it
Yeah.
down. Okay. Yeah, and there's like a big uh, black dot that opens up when you hurl your punch, and it's like a little white thing like starts glowing around in it, looping around in it like an eyeball. It's like the seeking eye of the hacker on the opposite side of the icon. He's like not looking
Yeah.
at this exact moment, and you hope he doesn't turn around and do something lightning fast to stop you.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Um,
The black expansive matrix is your pony right now. We need an attune roll though.
Yeah.
Do you want to push
do you
yourself,
want
Um,
or
do
do you
you
want
want
a
an
dragon
additional?
steel? Oh,
I can provide an additional die. I mean, I took my deck, so because yes, the troll mage has a deck for anybody who I don't think that came up.
yeah, I think that's a new one.
You help keep the eye preoccupied or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what it is. Yeah, I plug in and I'm distracting him so he doesn't look at Emerald. Like,
Okay.
what is this glitch over here? You know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so we see your troll doing that. Um, you mark an edge, I guess, for that. Oh,
Yeah. What would
if
be a
needed, we'll clear edge when, I mean, if you get to the point where you're about to go over, we'll do like a quick flashback to take care of that because you would have had downtime.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm really high.
You would have an opportunity to at least squeeze in one quick one before you came out here, you know. I think. Wait. This is all entanglement range here. No,
Yeah,
no, no. You did the
that's
handoff.
true. Yeah,
This is yeah, you haven't gone into downtime yet. Yeah. Okay. So no
Oops.
flashbacks to that without spending some edge. No, it wouldn't be an edge. It would cost you one yen because it's a flashback, but it wouldn't help you in this instant scene.
right,
It just doesn't make sense.
right.
Cool. All right.
That's fine. I'm not maxed.
Any
Oh, I thought you
Dragon
had to
Seal?
mark two more. I thought you had to mark two more. That would have put you into trauma. Okay.
Oh no, I
Or
just had to
one,
do because it's an
right.
assist, so it's just one. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I'm
one.
almost there. Yeah, I won't be
And you
doing
want any
any
more
resists.
bonus? Do you want any more bonus
No.
dice?
I'll hear a Dragon Seal.
I've got one. That you end up. Oh, you end up contacting like an entity in the area that you don't want, the unwanted attention. But it ends up exposing Traveler, your AI, to information gathering through your connection to the AI. So it's an emergent being. We'll follow that and harass Traveler.
Mm,
It may or may not be entanglement level. It's probably more like an action roll might do it. Well, to see what happens, right? Or you could, yeah.
all right. Well, we'll take it. Could be interesting.
If you got a better
All right.
idea, I'm into it too. You know, we'll see. But if you want that bonus die, that's cool. I'll give you that, and you'll have two.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how she goes.
So,
5-2-5-1, so a 5.
oh, you had 4 dice. Nice. Okay, wait, let's see here. So, best being a 5. It was risky. Complication. Well, so not only does that happen with the connection to Traveler, but it's more immediate. Traveler probably like you hear like a buzzing in the back of your head as like there's like a panic signal. Traveler's being like called back to a server they used to protect. So I'll put
So
a
he's, like,
clock
out of
on like
picture.
Traveler is gonna demand something of you, I guess, to help out with this, or they're gonna go offline, that kind of thing. So I'll put a clock for that. And we'll put 2 ticks on that clock, and I'll put this on our crew sheet. I think that's where clocks go. Oh, I have to build the clocks in Roll20. Okay, well, so we'll just write it down.
It became a character sheet. Like it's not a crew sheet anymore.
We can put it on the character sheets and stuff if you want me to start it here.
Am I looking at the wrong thing? Yeah, hold on. There we go. So this is Danger. Traveler. Offline. 204. That's how you do that. All right, so that's a consequence. And the other consequence is a complication. I think it's, you can resist this one if you wish, or the other one, or both. But the second complication is you do stop the car, but the hacker warns them as they're coming to a stop that it's happening. So they're like, something's wrong. as the eye turns around and glares and then gets blasted, and they're like, "Ah!" As the device goes offline, and they pull the trodes off of their head and fling them to the floorboard. And the car starts to roll to a stop, and they're like, somebody hacked us. I'm not sure how. And they're like, crap. Right, they snap.
I wanted to use
the weapons and get ready.
The opportunity of the stop car to go and try to get the package out of the car. I think that's creep.
Okay, that's desperate because they are aware of you. And very little effect because they're going to get out the car unless you creep really well.
Although I am light and quick.
Oh, and the artifact's somewhere in the vehicle, right? Like, so probably in a protected in the middle. You know, they were planning to meet the client out here in a few minutes or something, and or you know, not this instant because you stopped them on the road before they get there, right? And yeah, they come to a rolling stop. I think the vehicle actually doesn't come to a complete stop in the way you want. I think it starts to roll backwards. That's a better consequence. Let's say if they're not armed, they're scrambling for their weapon, but the car is rolling backwards because they're on a hill.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah, that I need to resist then.
Okay. So that it like off the side of the road and parks a little bit instead.
Yeah, we can't have them roll backwards. I don't know what type of resistance this
Well,
is.
you could try to turn the wheel instead of resist, so that it goes the right direction. You have your kind of access. You noise punched it to bypass security. You could spoof something, or you know.
Yeah, because the way I described it was that. Well, but the thing is, the way I described it is it shut down the car. Like none of the electronics should be really working. Yeah. That's the whole thing. So I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't turn on an e-brake when it's all DDoSed.
Yeah, it's temporarily glitching. The whole car is shut down. Right. So let's have it. Let's just have you direct it that way. So resist. That makes sense.
How steep is the hill?
Steep is it?
It's pretty steep. It's heading up towards. Well, I mean, it's not like, you know, like that, but it's like, you know, enough that if you're going to gain speed, you know, after about a minute of rolling, you'll be going about 45, 50 miles an hour.
We could just let it happen and then loop the car after it crashes. Maybe that could be the. You could resist that way, I guess.
I mean, it's not really resist. It's just taking the consequences and playing with it. That's all.
Just take it.
So okay. I mean, if that doesn't screw up Hammer, then I'm fine with it. But if it screws up his positioning or something, then we need to find some way to deal with it.
Well, as the car begins to roll backwards, then they're going to start scrambling for their weapon, right? So the risk now is that they're armed when you stop them. But the vehicle continues to roll backwards and you're behind them, so it's approaching you in reverse freely. It's going about 5 or 10 miles per hour, which is not very fast at the moment, and it's slowly gaining speed, and it's up the hill like 4 ticks away, you know. So it's gonna, by the time it gets to you, it's gonna be going fast enough to hurt you.
I know
we drive backwards.
Sure. I mean,
yeah, that or we could just pull off the road to the side and let them.
I suggest you shoot out the tires on one side and pull the side of the road away from that, and then it hits the trees on the side of the road.
Or before it gets too far away, we could always trip some sort of like emergency thing that like pops up like those blockade pylons or something. If those are like integrated into the road and just kind of they just slide up as if it's like an emergency, and the car just kind of goes right.
In a
Just
city
bit into
street,
that
I'd
if-
say there'd definitely be those all over. Here, it's a low chance, but maybe. You want me to? I'll see if there's any of those. You're not all the way out of town, though. I'll give you a die at least. Yeah, there's one, but it's in bad repair.
You just need to hold on to the vehicle. Yeah.
You can sense that the security is mostly offline and something waits within. Like the device has been in disrepair for a while. Whatever used to be like subroutining that and like, real recognizing commands, it could barely work if it was, managed to be contacted, but it's like an offline thing or if private connection doesn't really get maintained either. The hardware might break when you do it. So maybe it just hits that and stops, or maybe it goes flying and rolling down the hill and kills everybody.
Well, I
You
think
wanna try
we
to
can
stop
get
it
out
now?
of the way.
Yeah, I mean, probably should. I mean, we can't have it roll that far. I mean, we're setting it for an ambush. We can't have it roll back. So, yeah, I think we have to basically trigger this rusted
Piece of crap.
code broken thing, and see
Yes.
if it can at least like give it a stopping thud or something. Shake them up inside, even maybe knock the guns clean of them if it works well enough.
Oh yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's say you stop it, or you manage to get the pylons up. All right. The pylons are like go, and one kind of hangs halfway, and the other one is like comes up good.
Yeah.
All right. The vehicle's speeding up, and they're like, the brake's not working. Open the doors. Override. Nothing's working. Come on, hacker. What are you good for? And the hacker's like, it's offline. I don't know what's going on. Right. And they're freaking out a little bit. And when they start kicking the window, they're like, poof, poof, poof. They're like, there's something came up in the road. What's the plan when they hit those pylons?
I think we just charge them and start shooting.
I was gonna try
if we
to
need to.
sneak up on their vehicle and get the item out, but perhaps I can
Yeah,
do
but
that.
we're not sure where it is. Or yeah.
I don't think he could try.
One of you
time for
could have
him.
detected where it's at by now, probably. Is it in the car, like in the hands of someone, or is it like faint signal of magical energies, that kind of thing? Like that would suggest it's in the case.
Yeah, I think it's probably still in the case, and like somebody's got it, and probably they have a chain to their wrist or handcuffed to their wrist at any rate.
Yeah, the driver has it. The driver's wearing like a gray suit coat and a bluish like button-up shirt, and they don't have it suit. They don't have a chain to them. I think what they have it is they have it like manacled to to the hacker. I think it's manacled to the hacker. Yeah, and the hacker's wearing just like a polo, and he's leaned back in the seat and he's kicking, and he's like, "Get this damn thing off my arm so I can punch." And then he's got his gun in the other hand, but it's like it falls on the seat as they hit the pylons. Right. So now what happens?
I'm gonna take advantage of that hit and go up and finesse. I think I can skirmish with them while they're in the car. I got a staff.
Oh, so it's important. Yeah, if you want to skirmish, like it's important how long they're stuck there. One of the pylons is wiggling, right? So
Right.
I want to see a setup, probably for Emerald's action just a moment ago. See how much that does.
Okay.
Right. And then that'll set your character up. Does anyone else do anything? Like Grace?
Uh,
Grinds?
yeah. Grinds is going to approach the car from the opposite side that Hammer does to provide a distraction for him.
Right. And we're on this like hill, right? And there's like the pylon, and then the vehicle's like pressed up against it and dented a little bit. And feet are pushing on the window as they come to a stop, and then they realize that it's a jack. And they're like, oh crap, it's happening now. I imagine the levers, like in the future,
Actually,
the
you know what?
cars are like,
Yeah.
they probably don't have levers that work unless you have like the proper authorization, right? It's like you got to have something online to open the door, unless you hit the latch with like something from the outside or from the inside. There's probably an emergency button or something to get out. So they're probably going to press the emergency button and hope to get out at this point. So what are you doing to stop that? I guess you're skirmishing the door.
I'm gonna flick my staff into its full and open use position, and then try to drive like do the swing, and then I guess it'd be like the jab or stabbing motion at the end of the staff, pierce the window, crack the guy in the forehead or something.
Okay. All right. What do you hope that you're capping in the forehead? You're hoping to like cause them enough pain to knock them out, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to knock him out. I don't want to kill anybody here. I'm just trying to remove him from the immediate fight.
Yeah, that would probably do it. Most NPCs don't like to be injured to the point where they're about to be knocked out in a single hit by anything. So, if you manage to boop, do serious damage right to the center of his forehead or something with this staff hit, that would give them pause, and give you time to do something else while they
All right.
back.
Sounds good to me.
And so the driver, right? Not the hacker, or the hacker with the case.
The one with the gun in hand.
Yeah, the hacker's like trying to kick a window out, and the driver's like got a gun in hand.
So it's got a driver then, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So through the driver's side window, right into their head. All right, so setup and action roll from you, because it's risky.
Okay. So I'm rolling the setup.
No,
Or no, it's Emerald.
Zal's setting you up with the tune, I think, to put those in place and hold them so that they don't do anything and they don't have any opportunities. I think it's a setup, right?
Sure. 5 and a 1.
Okay, so yeah, but after this action, one of the pylons will give way, and then the car will kind of like go this way off the side of the road and kind of jerk the car away in the middle of the action.
Okay.
So I'll roll for how bad that is, depending on what's going on.
So I do have a setup.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you get
All
the
right.
setup. Yeah, you get bonus. Probably better position or more effect. More effect probably makes sense here, right?
Effects, yeah.
Because it holds them longer.
Okay. Going for effects. Now, what's my position?
I think it's risky. Like they might have their gun to bear and maybe get a shot off at you. They're starting to fight back, basically.
Got it. And so the setup is going to be the great effect, removes him from the fight. Greater effect.
Well, yeah, great effect. You remove him from the fight, right? You hurt him as well as remove him from the fight.
Okay. And do I need the great effect to remove him from the fight?
Yeah, like
Okay.
if you
Fact.
like if you just heard them, probably they would be shooting you.
Got it. Okay. I got it. So I will skirmish. I'll use finesse. I will mark. I do have my fine mystic staff, which I think
Right.
here.
Yeah, normally you would be reduced effect from having to dealt with cheer perhaps, but in this case, the fine mystic staff just means it's better when it comes to dealing with other threats that have ratings that matter in this regard. I think in this case you're
Okay.
hitting them with a mystic staff, so they don't have mystic
Right.
armor.
Sounds good to me. And then here's my 2 dice. 5 and a 1.
Okay. So 5 and a 1 means you do it at some complication or cost. Let's see what's interesting. And then we will have to take a break. I might have to call the session after that. I think might be. Yeah, we're past our time for the third break. All right, so complications. I'm looking through my ideas. One that I like is the position gets worse. I like you doing it like exactly as you said, but the position gets worse as
You get stuck on him.
the hacker opens the case.
Okay.
This is what happens. All right, the driver goes to grabs their gun, and they're like trying to level a shot at you, and right as you see them level that, boom, from the side of the window, we see your staff, pow, like hit the gun out of their hand, and also hit them in the arm and shatter their wrist. And they're clutching their wrist as it like flops a little bit, and he like leans over in the seat, and he's like, oh, no. Right, and he just starts to kind of like push himself across the seat to the passenger side and just like try to protect the wrist, and the gun lays on the floorboard in the front. In the back, the hacker sees this, stops kicking the window, and gets the bright idea to like, what's in the case? As his gun's on the floorboard, and it's not really like the easiest thing to grab, but here he has this case. So he just pops it open, and he looks at it, and his eyes go silvery. You see the like circles of light start to go in there, and he's like,
I think
at this point, Grinds on the other side is going to slam his hand against the car and send like a shockwave through it to try and stun the people inside. So it's I've got the sorcery special ability, so I think that'll be one of his spells is shockwave or whatever we want to call it.
yeah, that's cool. So this is like a physical shockwave, correct?
Right, yeah, it just rattles them and hopefully stuns them.
Are we hoping for sound plus force? Like pushing force? Or we just want sound that like might hurt ears and things like that?
I think both. Go for both.
That's like a could break glass kind of shockwave.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Like,
I think
that sounds well within your range of power. I mean, you've got 2 dots in a tune, correct? No,
a sense, yeah.
Or sense, right.
I've got 2.
Did you put your sense rating somewhere else?
I put it over in special abilities since there wasn't a spot for it on the sheet.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I see it now. So, yep. So you're at 2 dice to start. Does someone want to assist as we see them kind of do the Like with the shockwave move, you've probably seen them do this before, right? The other two orders.
Probably. They probably know. I would think.
So it could be like, oh, they're doing the shockwave move. We know what to do the combo.
That's
I
right.
like it. I'll throw an edge down to help you, and I'll do it with glowing mystic tattoos.
Nice.
What's your tattoos look like?
Shift. It looks like various different symbols that would be on like a giant circular rotating slab, and I'm standing in front of the projector and they rotate past me. And so when these go off, it rotates over towards your astrological sign, which is where it stops and lights up.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay, bonus die if you mark that edge.
Yep. And I'm not going to go for a dragon's bargain here, or dragon's deal. So I'm just going to go with the 3 dice. And I don't know why I keep using roll 20, but I do. All right, 2 5s and a 4.
Okay. 2 5s. You shockwave him. Glass goes flying in your face. And the door kind of like buckles shut. The glass also hurts them inside, right? That's kind of what you were after, right?
Yeah, kind of to stun them, deafen. Their ears are probably ringing, and of course the glass that shattered inwards is, pelted them, so they're probably bleeding. It's a whole throwing them off their game kind of move.
Oh yeah.
And
so
if it goes
so that
really well,
works.
it's they're not moving, and we can grab the case and run.
All right. You knock it free of their grasp. They fall back on the seat. Glass goes flying into the back seat. What remained of the glass on the passenger door. And the shockwave kind of pushes the door in so that the mechanism is pushed oddly. So you have to kind of crawl in the window to get at them. And you also knock out the opposite window. It's so good. We see the shockwave just like through, and they narrowly dodge it so that they're pushed flat on the seat. They've got the case on the floorboard, like next to them, so they could easily grab it. But they're still in the vehicle, and the window is now broke out behind them, the opposite side. So they're going to try to get away probably with the case. But yeah, you see the silver eyes, and they kind of like snap out of it for a second, and they're like realizing what they were just doing, and they look at the case and grab it, probably, right, and look at you, and they look fearful, and they're like, "What are you going to do next?" I think they're seeing the gun. We see the gun as well, right down the floorboard. They're still clutching the case. They're like overwhelmed with greed for whatever they just saw.
Yeah. That looks a little too dangerous for you to have. Perhaps you should just turn it over to me. And holds out his hand for the case. Just sticks his whole arm in the window and, holds it there and takes up most of the window.
Oh, right. Yeah, it dwarfs his puny head with your bicep. Let's go with a demand, I guess you're going for?
Yeah.
You want to try to make him just give it up?
Yep, just hand it over. I'll roll this time instead of using.
Yeah, it's going to be, if you want him to give it up and not realize the moment after that he gave you something that he really wants, and he should probably remember your face and all this other stuff. I mean, if you just want to scare him so that he gives it to you, that's sort of like a standard effect and probably risky because you've already got a position on this. If you want him to give it up and never, and be so scared that he just hides his face and gives it to you, that's a little more like a great effect.
Oh yeah,
That would be rest.
I'm
I
out
think that
of.
would desperate it. So
If I do go desperate great, if I interchange switch position for effect, um, what's the risk there? Yes, is the question for a desperate
I get
roll.
to I get to pick, but it's based on the fiction. So it's something suitably bad. Like they say no, and they also get the upper hand, and they've got this magic item. So maybe they managed to grab it and make it do a thing. I don't know.
Hey Hammer, could you give me an assist with this? You know, maybe like standing on the other side, going, "I'd do what the big troll says," or something along those lines.
Mm.
I don't know if you have this. I don't know if you have the edge for it.
You're trying to intimidate, yeah?
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
intimidate.
Yep. So yeah, I'm gonna do a desperate grade here, and
I'll toss it. Here you go. Marked edge.
awesome. 2 dice. Oh, a 6 and a 1. So
Ooh, nice. Dang. So I think there's like the briefest moment of uncertainty where they're holding the case. I've got one somewhere that's perfect, but anyway, they're holding it and they're laid back, right? I get on the seat. They're not sitting upright, and they're looking at you like this way, like looking down while they're laid back. And they have the case on their chest as they're laid back, and they kind of like crack it open and think about it, and then they realize they're hearing a voice in their head that's not their own. That's like, open it, open. And it just kind of fades out. And he's like, and he sees the massive, troll reaching out. And it's clear, the texture on your skin, it's rough. You see like cuts on there. And he just realizes that those hands could probably squish his head. And he just kind of instinctively shoves it out and almost throws it at you, right? Like Edge turns his head to the side, and really regrets thinking about keeping the case.
well, thank you very much, and you've made the correct decision. Jensen will just take the case, and we'll walk back to our car, our rented car.
Yeah, I think the driver's like cowering in the front and holding their broken wrist, and the hacker in the back is laid down, like shivering and turned on the side, like okay, I survived. Oh.
As I walk off, I'll point the staff at him and be like, "You missed out, buddy."
The
Maybe
hacker
next time.
doesn't say anything. They just kind of go, but the driver in the front is like, "You bastard, don't leave. Oh, they're like calling out from the car. They're like, you're going to get it one day. We're going to catch you." You know, they're cussing you out.
Let's see. You know, maybe so maybe Jensen will call on the comms, you know, to the I don't know what we're calling the dock wagon in this, but you know, there's been a car accident, and
Med sled.
an anonymous call in, you know, through a.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Let's say that happens. They're like, where? Yeah, they come in from their location. They're like out past New Kingston. They're like, we had some weird signals out there. We'll check it out. Thanks for the report, citizen. Yeah, I imagine there's that. How do you leave? Do you guys just like do we see the rental like peel out and then you take off, or do you just like nonchalantly drive by and do something to like, continue the intimidation or look cool?
I don't know. Maybe we drive as we drive past. We just go, "Don't worry, gentlemen. Help is on the way."
Right? So that's your style. You kind of like
Who's ever?
let them know.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I just
Who's
give
driving? Is it?
a bad dog look. Like, like if I wasn't behind the window, I'd be like barking and chasing you.
We're an eclectic crew.
We're professional. Smile.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Like having you just coast by and looking like mean dog face and don't worry, help will be coming. Like you say that as the others two just look tough.
Hammersley.
Like this tough looking elf. Right, we got our human and then the troll being nice.
Right.
Turn around and just coast away. Just
Right.
all relaxed.
Fade into the night.
Yeah.
Like the
Do you-
badasses we are.
Gray, your character is the one who grabbed the case, correct? So, hey, that works out pretty good. You hear whispering as well as you're riding back, coming down the slope, decline back towards the city of Kingston. We see like the plastic trees start to come into view again, and then like a low wall and houses, and you start to hear like, get out the car, get out, take it with you, that kind of thing. And then like we hear like something reminiscent of a snake rattle, kind of like
Ooh.
that kind of thing. And then it fades away, and you hear that like you realize that like 5 minutes of driving have passed.
Oh,
You're like
jeez.
into the district. You're already into like a district proper. And
I guess when you get back, I'm like mid rant. It belongs in a museum.
oh, that's fun. And then I want to close this episode with a narration. I want it to be like the smoky dragon thing we saw in the vision of the ancient past. We see that like come up out of a black expanse as the episode is closing, and it like swallows a palm tree and snakes off towards Kingston, and we see it like looking around. There's like a spirit of a dragon out there hunting for its calling device from its last master.
What could go wrong?
And we have
We'll find out next time.
What could go wrong? I'll tell you. The last master, he was turned inside
we'll
out.
hug it and love it and call it George.
Yeah, he was turned inside out by a hellhound. So, boo.
That doesn't.
But we see the
All right.
the smoke dragons part ways from the corpse of somebody with flayed and hanging on sticks. It's terrifying.
Oh,
And that's
goody.
like the horror. That's the horror side of our show, of our TV show. We get to see like flash cuts of nasty stuff, like gruesome horror.
Oh.
Outros? We'll cut away from the city of Kingston, and then we see our cast. Zal, tell them where we can find you.
Yeah, again, I'm Xalkyrie. Thanks for being here. I much appreciate it. It was a ton of fun. Thank you all for having me. Twitch.tv/Xalkyrie is my channel. I stream about 5 days a week. Gradually getting into more and more tabletop. Hopefully a Blades game soon. I'm really excited for that if I get the people for it. Just need maybe 1 or 2 people with the existing cast, so that'd be great. Other than that, I do the Red Dead role play in between. It's kind of filler stuff if I'm not playing like Dragon Ball, because for some reason I'm just on a kick of that lately. But I also started uploading the Star Wars stuff from our Star Wars tabletop onto YouTube, so you can find me on YouTube at Xalkyrie as well. Yes, I think it's Xalkyrie. I didn't think I had to change my name, but YouTube was kind of weird when I had to set up the account. But it should be Xalkyrie. And yeah, again, thanks for having me. We'll be back. I'll be back with the crew here next week.
Very cool. All right, how about you, Greg?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Greyorm, but that's pretty much it. I do have Wild Hunt Studios, which is my publishing and illustration studio. So
you draw
it should be
pictures.
fairly easy. What's that?
You draw.
I draw
for people.
pictures. Yes, I do. I do illustration. I write. I do illustration. I do editing. I'm a Renaissance guy, so yeah.
Yeah, keep this guy in mind if you need an artist. Check out their work on the Twitter, I guess, and their portfolios and stuff.
Maybe I'll post a link there after the game here, after the stream.
I'll post that actually. I'll post all of your Twitches here, or your Twitters, because I know those kind of by heart. Yeah, I'll mute my mic. Go ahead, Scraigon.
You can catch me over on the Discord server, Scraigon. Also, I am on Twitch. I'm on my friend's channel doing a game Friday 6 to 8. That is on the Firebug, part of Firehouse Gaming. I also have some YouTube channels that I've worked with, Game Breakers Media. So check me out in any of those.
Yeah, they've got a whole network, I think, with the Grain Bakers, so that's cool. Make sure to check that out. And Xalkyrie's channel as well. That's also /Xalkyrie, right?
Yeah, Twitch and YouTube should be Xalkyrie. Twitter is Xalkyria, just the E with an A change, because I couldn't get Xalkyrie for Twitter because some teacher or something has it. So I lost it out to that.
Right when I said I knew it by heart, I was wrong. Okay.
It would be great if I could be consistent, but I lost out on Twitter. Everything else should be Xalkyrie, but Twitter I lost the battle, and it's Xalkyria.
Cool. And Game Breakers has a Twitter? Do you want me to plug?
I think so. Yeah, Game Breakers Media.
Okay. /Game Breakers Media. Cool. And I'll put mine as well.
We have a YouTube channel. Yeah, Game Breakers Media, primarily on YouTube. But yeah.
Okay. Right. And so I was your GM and host, Mark. Also author, creator, and producer for the show. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of stuff, but that's cool. It's a lot of fun. I love this. I'm absolutely in love with Cyberpunk, obviously. And this is really my jam. And I'm excited to see where this crew goes and what happens next. I guess now that they've got the cane and the money.
Right.
Yeah. You got the other two.
I got the girl.
And we have a girl to perhaps deal with when we may have a guest next episode as well. Yeah. We were really trying hard to get to make everything work so that we could have a fourth cast member, and we can see, there's a little spot for them there. So if we can get them in, we'll have Eric from Adrenaline Games, and that would be a pleasure to have them join our game as well. They're of similar backgrounds to us, and obviously being a fellow author of a Forge in the Dark game, they should make a great addition. So we'll hope for that. And stay tuned to the Twitters for Hacked in the Dark. so that you can find out more updates about this game and about other shows. We've got podcasts. We've got content coming out from various authors like myself and other GMs. So actual plays and talking about games, especially Forge in the Dark games. Okay, well, I think that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out, everyone, and enjoy the outro, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.